Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jennifer, and today we are going to do first impressions of the Tom Ford quads. I have the Meteoric and a Visionaire. I put a picture up on Instagram so you guys could see an advanced look. They look like all of the other Tom Ford quads. They don't have the Soleil packaging, they have the normal packaging, mahogany color with the gold. This is the Meteoric, and I'll show you this. I'm gonna swatch all these for you guys, obviously, but I want you to see the shades. That's Meteoric. And then Visionaire. I will tell you, just looking at them, Visionaire is the one that like calls to me, whatever the heck that means, but I think they're both really pretty. If you've watched my channel for any length of time, not that it's been on that long, but you'll know that I am a big Tom Ford fan, and I was very excited to see that these were available, and I picked them up as soon as I possibly could. Now, from what I have seen, Mel Thompson got these early, and from what I saw in what she did, they had a very light look. They were not super pigmented. Not that the Tom Fords are ever like super pigmented, but they had more of a subtle look to them. So this is the first one. This is Visionaire, and I will keep this on my arm and put the Meteoric next to it. So that's the Visionaire. You can see the shades are definitely on the lighter side. There's not a tremendous amount of pigment. These are not, you know, a Pat McGrath type of palette. Some people would argue that this is better for more mature skin, more mature eyes. What they really mean by that is that they are more forgiving, because if it's not heavily pigmented, if it's not heavily glittered, and you have texture on your eyes, or your eyes are hooded, or whatever the case may be, these might work better for you. Okay, so these are the Meteoric, and then these four are the Visionaire. I think you should wear whatever you like, regardless of whether you have hooded eyes, and round eyes, almond-shaped eyes, textured eyes. I think you should wear what you like, and I don't think there is such a thing. But I will say that some shadows do go on better and look better, in my opinion, on skin that might not be super taut or smooth. I have issues with allergies. You guys have heard this if you've watched my channel at all, and my eyelids are irritated right now. They've just been irritated all summer. And so there's like a texture to them, which in a way works well for you guys, because you get to see real life what it will look like. I don't have 20-year-old skin. Obviously, I'm 48, so it wouldn't make sense for me to have 20-year-old skin. I just did the Wayne Goss Amber Topaz, I always forget names, eyeshadow palette, and I'm beginning to like it even more than I did in my video. And the reason I would say that is my eyes have been irritated, so I've been using it just to see how it would look when my skin looks bad. And it goes on really well, and it looks really nice, and it doesn't accentuate at all the texture that I'm getting on my eyelids. That is rare, especially for like a satiny shade, because usually it accentuates whatever's underneath it. So I know this is about Tom Ford, but I just wanted to throw that in. So let's see how these work today. Now I'm gonna do something that I don't usually do. I'm gonna do a look on each eye. I thought about doing a video for each quad, but I just think that's overkill, because I don't think these are super standout, you know, drastic looking, over the top looking shades. And so I don't think the eye looks that I'm gonna come up with are gonna be that different. I think they're gonna be subtle, I think they're gonna be classy and beautiful, which is Tom Ford, right? But I don't think we're looking at, you know, again, a Mothership palette or even a Sydney Grace. I just don't think that's what we're looking at here. So I'm gonna do the Meteoric, make sure I get them right, Meteoric on this side, and then the Visionaire on this side. And we'll go ahead and put them on the eyes, see how they look. I'll give you my thoughts about how they apply and how they compare to some other Tom Ford quads that I've too many. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me bring you in a little bit closer. Okay, so a couple things. You know, the Tom Ford quads are $88. They are available on Tom Ford, or at least they were. They're available on Beautylish. I'm not sure where else they're available right now, but those are the two that come to mind. Okay, so let's go in with the Meteoric. Let's go in with this shade here. It looks to me, and from the swatch in my hand, it's kind of like a taupey shade. I'm going in with the Tom Ford, because I thought that was appropriate, number 13 brush. I am wearing all Tom Ford products on my face today, because again, I felt that that was appropriate. It is more pigmented than it comes out on the hand. I'm gonna take this peach shade here, and I'm gonna put that on the eyelid. It does go down really easily. If you saw the first color, the brownish, mauvish, it's like a mushroom almost. It's got a purple tinge to it. That's a satin. The pink rose shade is a matte. It does look nice. It does have decent color payoff. It's nothing, you know, opaque about it. I'd say that it's got a decent amount of opacity. It goes down smoothly. It does look very pretty on the eye. It doesn't accentuate any of the texture. So I think that's a nice shade. And again, I didn't do a traditional like transition shade that was matte and blended out. You don't have to do that, guys. I mean, you can put on makeup any way you wanted. So let's go in with this shade here. This one right there, which is the one that is like it's like a lilac, I think. That's my best way to describe it, I think. And just sort of put that on the lid. Now that's definitely a topper, no question. There's not a tremendous amount of payoff on that. It's very pretty. And let's use this shade here, which is more of a it's like a pinky champagne. Yeah, it's like a pink champagne shade. That's the look is. I will do eyeliner and mascara, but I wanted you to just see it. Okay, let's do the other eye. So same brush, the number 13 Tom Ford. And again, I'm not doing, like, I haven't spent a lot of time with these. These are first impressions, so they may grow on me and I might love them after a while. I'm gonna go with this shade here, which is, I believe, a satin. It looks like a satin. And it's kind of the taupey brown shade. Similar to the shade in the Meteoric, but it's browner. Okay, you can see that. You can see it's like bronzier than the other one. The other one had more of a purple tone. All right, so now we're gonna go in with this browner shade. It definitely has more of a true brown to it. And we're gonna go back in, same brush, outer corner, but I'm being more specific with it. Let's go in. I believe this is like sort of the rosier shade. Again, this is a satin. In the other palette, I keep forgetting the names, in the Meteoric, we used the rose on the lid, but it's a matte. This is definitely a satin shade, but it's a similar, like, color story. Can you see what I mean? This is the satin. This is from Visionaire. It's from Meteoric. Going into this, to buying these, sorry I keep like playing with my hair, but it's freshly washed and so it's kind of like all over the place. I had seen Mel Thompson use these early. I forget how she got them. I'll be honest, guys, I don't remember. But you know, I got an early look and I wasn't like, oh my God, I wasn't like, oh, these are gonna, you know, be my favorites. But I did like them enough, and I love Tom Ford, that I wanted to try them out. And I also thought they would be, you know, like good work appropriate. For what I do for a living, I can't really have like an over-the-top makeup look. It just wouldn't really be appropriate. So it's always good to have a palette or several palettes that you can, you know, just throw in your bag and you know you can wear anywhere, and they might not be super exciting, but you know they're gonna work for you, kind of thing. Okay, so let's go in with this definitely like champagne, gold champagne kind of shade. Definitely a topper. Again, like these are not really like opaque shimmer shades. They are toppers for the other shades. Okay, so that's Visionaire. So Visionaire, Meteoric. There are some similarities here, guys. They do look alike. Okay, let's go ahead and do some eyeliner. I think I'm gonna choose different eyeliners for these looks. So let's stick with Tom Ford, because, you know, we should stick with Tom Ford. And I will do Metallic Mink on this side because it's cooler, and I will use Espresso on this side. I'm gonna run shades on the bottom lash line so you can see how that looks. So let's do the Meteoric side first. Let's take this brown mushroom, whatever, shade, see how that works. Okay, I think that's pretty actually. I think that looks nice. And let's go in with this shade, which is the sort of the mushroom-y more shade from the Visionaire palette. It's not the darkest brown shade in that palette. All right, so let me bring you in a little bit closer so we can look at the eye look before we do mascara. I always think that mascara really does change a look. I mean, it can make a look that looks kind of iffy into something fantastic, which is great, and I love mascara, but it sometimes takes away from the eyeshadow look that you've created. So I like to show people what it looks like without the mascara first, and then do mascara if I remember to do so. So this is the Meteoric, and this is the Visionaire. Okay, so here's the final look with the mascara on. Again, Meteoric, Visionaire. I think there are very similar looks. I think if we took a picture right now, it'd be really hard to discern the difference. I think the Meteoric is prettier on the eye than the Visionaire. That's just me, but I do like the color story better because on the Visionaire, because I like the browner, warmer tone. But I think this one's curated better. I think that all the colors work really well together. My final thoughts are, if you don't own a Tom Ford palette, I would not suggest picking this one up, or either one of these up, as your first palette, because I think you'd be slightly disappointed. I think they're very pretty, but for $88, you probably are gonna want something a little more for your money. I think they're beautiful. I like the formula. I think they look nice on my eye. They don't accentuate, as I was saying before, the texture on my eye, which actually is important for me. So I really like them. I think they are Tom Ford quality, and I think they're very pretty. This comes off as light and subtle in the packaging, and it's light and subtle on the eye. I knew it was going to be, like I said, I saw content creators use this before, so it's not like I'm surprised by it. But I wouldn't say that it's my favorite Tom Ford quad. There are many others that I like, frankly, a lot better. One day I'll do a ranking of all my Tom Ford quads, but that's gonna take quite some time. So I would say, if you like a subtle lilac, cool palette, I think the Meteoric is lovely, and I think it looks really nice. The Visionaire, again, I think it's nice. I think it's pretty. I don't like the color curation as much. I think it's a little off, but I think it creates a nice look. If you have more mature skin, more mature eyes, I think these will work well for you. Again, I do have texture on my skin right now, on my eyelids, and you can't tell at all. It doesn't settle into it, it doesn't accentuate it, and that is important. It is something that you should note. There are some shadows that I've used that immediately I'm just like, yeah, I'm not wearing this. It's not happening. So I certainly am not gonna say that. I mean, they're very pretty. Whether you wanna pay $88 for these particular palettes, that's gonna be up to you. I can only show you what they look like on the eye and give you my thoughts. I think they're pretty. I think they're subtle. I think they're, you know, nice. I don't love them. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you're so inclined, hit like, hit subscribe. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you in another video really soon. Bye-bye.